Hello, brown bears and brown bear parents. If we were at school right now, we would be spending a good bit of time working on our names. We have already started that, tracing over our names during workstations. So I just want to go over some tips if you are teaching a little one how to write their name. I'll go over a few materials that are handy and maybe just show you how we write our names. It might help having just some tips, some phrases to use to remind your little one about how to form those letters, about how to remember to grasp their writing utensil. So I just wanted to start with an idea for paper. You want to be sure that you have lines, big ones for preschool. I just searched Google and I found this template. There are tons out there. Just choose one that is large or that is for preschool. Mine came from this website here. And again, just the keywords to look for, large or for preschool. You can put these templates in a sheet protector, and you can use a washable marker, just a regular washable marker. Give your child a dry paper towel, and this was one that I have been practicing with already, but this is a wet paper towel, just barely damp actually. So if you have your template in a sheet protector, they can wipe it off with either a wet wipe or the dampened paper towel. Just be sure they dry it off again before they use another writing utensil. Wax crayons will also work on sheet protectors, and they will come off the same way with the wet wipe or with your dampened paper towel. Just be sure they say washable. And the only thing I would caution you about is if you use the marker, the ink is very likely going to get on their clothes. Very likely to get on their hands. So it might stain them for a few hours, but a good washing with soap and water usually takes care of that. You can use dry erase markers, and you can also use a dry erase board, which I will be demonstrating everybody's name on in just a few minutes. However, if you choose to use a dry erase marker, you might want to wear an art smock because dry erase markers won't come out of the cloth material. I've learned the hard way on that. But just wanted to go ahead and do everybody's name. If you want to skip through and find your child's name, just find them in the video. Notice at what time signature that your child's video comes on, and you can either edit it and cut everything else out, or you can just skip to that part of the video each time they want to practice, or you can just maybe pick up some things you like from that video and do it yourself. Feel free, however you want to do it. And if you have any questions and you want to contact me and ask me anything, feel free to call me, to send me a text message. I'm not on Facebook right now, but you can find me at my text, or I don't believe you don't have my email, but it's rjill11@yahoo.com if you choose to email me. So I'm very excited to spend some time with you guys, and I hope that this is helpful and that you enjoy what we talk about. Okay, so I'm going to use a marker, and I'm using my washable marker right here on my dry erase board, and this will come off the same way that I explained that it will come off of a sheet protector. You could also make lots of copies of those lined pages if you want to. Let me go back to some materials before we start. If you choose to make the copies and your student needs a guide, you can always use a highlighter to write their name for them first, and then they can trace where you've written in highlight, and it's easy for you to see how their pencil strokes are going. So that if you want to get them used to the pencil grasp, and you do make hard copies of your lined paper, it might be a good idea to give them that guide to write their name. You can also do hand over hand, where you reach over and you guide their hand through the strokes, or you could even just talk them through, model it a few times, and then talk them through the cues. So we're going to get started, and we're going to start with Brylan's name. I'm going to shift the camera down just a little bit because we have a glare on the board, and it's a little harder for me to make the appropriate strokes with me writing in the air. So I'm going to just focus the camera a little closer to my writing surface, And for Bryland's name, her name starts with a capital B. So you'll notice we have 3 lines. We have a cloud that reminds us of the line that is the sky. This is a bird. The bird flies a little bit lower than the cloud, and this is our middle line. And then we have some green grass on the ground. So when we make our capital letters, we're going to start at the top. You're going to hear me say start at the top a lot because when we're forming our letters, we want to be sure that we start at the top. So we're starting at the sky, and we're going to draw, let me change colors. This one is not very dark. Start at the sky, draw a stick all the way to the ground and stop. Go back to the sky, we're going to draw a tummy to the middle line, and then from the middle line, we're going to draw a tummy to the ground. Letter B. Now Bryland has an R in her name. And parents, the reason we're going to do lowercase letters after that capital is it's just a good habit to form early on. Although in our class, we're not focusing on lowercase letters as we're learning the alphabet, we don't want to have to go backwards when we try to teach them how to write their name. So we're going to dive in from the beginning and do only a capital letter for the first letter. So the R in Bryland's name is going to start at the middle line, and you're going to draw a stick all the way to the ground, trace back up, don't pick your pencil up, and make a rainbow and stop in the middle. For our letter I, we're going to start at the middle line, draw a stick to the ground, reach above the dots, and put a dot over the I. Next is letter L. We're going to start at the sky and draw a stick all the way to the ground and give a little curl. Bryland has a Y in her name next, so we're going to make a U. Start at the top, make a U to the ground, reach back up to the middle line. We're going to drop a tail below the line and give it a hook. The next letter is an N. So we're going to start at the middle line, drop a line to the ground, trace back up. This time we're going to give a rainbow that goes all the way to the ground. And we have one more N for Bryland's name. Start at the middle line, reach down to the ground, trace back up, make a rainbow to the ground. And this is Bryland. Okay, so now I'm going to just clean this off of my dry erase board. I've got my damp towel. I have my dry towel. And now we're going to make Zachary's name. Zachary starts with a Z. Remember, boys and girls, when you're holding your marker, your pencil, or your crayon, remember we talked about our baby shark? And then we have a little prop, and our other fingers hold onto our palm. And we hold with our thumb and finger and rest our pencil, marker, or crayon on the second finger, and then our writing utensil lays flat against our hand. So for Zachary, we're also going to start at the sky. But Zachary has a zigzag, so we're going to go backwards before we drop a diagonal to the ground, and then slide back again for a Z. For an A, we start at the middle line, make an oval, drop down a tail, and curl behind. R, start at the middle line, drop all the way to the ground, make a rainbow, but stop right below the lines. I did the wrong letter. We're going to take that off. We have a C next. That's okay if we make a mistake. See, even grown-ups make mistakes sometimes. It's time for the C. So for the C, we still start at the middle line, but we're going to come below it just a little bit and reach up, curve around all the way to the ground. And don't close it up like an O, but we just stop right above the ground. Now we need an H. So we're going to start at the sky, reach all the way to the ground, trace back up, give a rainbow right at the middle, and back down to the ground. Now we're ready for another A. Do you remember how to do the A? Make an oval up to the middle line, drop your tail to the ground. Then we're going to put a Y, an R. So we start at the middle line, drop down to the ground, trace back up, make your rainbow, but stop just after the dot. Now we're ready for our Y. So we're going to put a U shape, stop at the dots, drop a tail below the line, and give it a hook. There's Zachary's name. Okay. Next, we're going to work on Mason's name. Mason starts with an M. We're going to start at the sky, and Mason, you're going to make a line all the way down to the ground as a diagonal line. Touch the ground. Go back to the top, and we're going to make another diagonal line the other direction, all the way to the ground. Go back to the sky, and we're going to do a backwards diagonal, back to the sky, forward diagonal. There's your letter M. Then we're going to have an oval with a tail for your A. We're starting at that middle line, drop to the ground. S is a tricky letter to write in the middle, but you're going to start just below the dotted line, reach up to that middle dotted line, curve around, and swish back for a snaky S. And then we're going to put an O. That's just a circle. We're going to start at the middle line, reach a circle all the way to the ground, and close it up at the middle line. For letter N, we're going to start at the dotted line, draw your stick to the ground, trace back up, make a rainbow that touches all the way to the ground. And there's Mason's name. We're going to clean that off. Dry our board. Next, we're going to write Lawson's name. Lawson, you have a letter. Your letter is capital L in the beginning of your name. So we start at the sky, draw a stick all the way to the ground, and push forward right along the ground for your capital L. Then we're going to do an A, which is an oval. And we're going to drop a tail to the ground. Next is W. We start at the middle line, make a loop to the ground, back up to the middle line, and another loop, back up to the middle line. Now you get an S in your name. We're going to start just below the dots. We're going to curve back, switch forward, and snaky S switches back. Now we're going to make an O. Start at the middle line, make a circle that reaches to the ground and closes up at the middle line. Now for your N, start at the middle line, draw a stick to the ground, trace back up, make a rainbow to the ground. Lawson. Okay, now we're going to do Charlie Marvin. Charlie's name starts with a C, so we're going to make our capital C. When we start, we go to the top, but we're going to stop just above or just below the line. We're going to put our pencil down and curve backwards, and we're going to reach way down to the ground and curve back up toward the middle line, but we're not going to go all the way. Now we need a lowercase h, so we're going to start at the sky, reach all the way to the ground, trace back up to the middle, give a rainbow to the ground. For letter A, we're going to do an oval, reach down with a tail. Letter R, we start at the middle line, drop down to the ground, make a short rainbow, and stop just below the line. L, start at the sky, drop a line all the way to the ground and give a little curl. And here is letter E. For letter E, lowercase e, we're going to start just halfway between the middle line and the ground, and we're going to push forward, and then we reach around and we kind of give it a little hug and drop to the ground for our letter E. Now we're going to do a letter I. We start at the middle line, drop a stick to the ground, and put a little dot above in the middle between the middle line and the sky. Now we're going to do a G. It's a lot like letter A, except instead of giving a tail, we're going to put a hook below the line. So we're going to make our oval, drop a tail below the line, and give a hook without ever picking up our pencil or marker or crayon. For our letter H, tall back. So we start at the sky, draw a stick all the way to the ground, trace back up, and make a rainbow back down to the ground. And there we have Charlie. Okay, now we have Charlie K. Charlie and Charlie sound the same, but they are spelled differently. We have Charlie Marvin, who's a girl, and Charlie Kiker, who is a boy. So Charlie Kiker, your name is going to start the same way as Charlie Marvin's, but you're going to see that there's a little bit difference at the end of your name. So you're going to start your C just like we did on Charlie Marvin. You start just below the sky, reach up to the sky, go all the way down in a curve, stop at the ground and curve back up just a little bit above the line. Now you also have an H, so start at the sky, drop all the way down to the ground, trace back up to the middle line, give a rainbow back to the ground. Now we're going to do an A, so we need an oval, and we're going to drop a tail down to the line. We're going to do an R. So you're going to start at the middle line, drop a stick to the ground, trace back up, short rainbow, stop just past the middle line. Here's our L, reach tall back to the sky, draw a stick all the way to the ground. And now we're going to do an I, middle line, drop a stick to the ground, put a dot just above that middle line, and then we're going to do this E. So remember that your letter E, you go between the middle line and the ground, push a line forward, reach around, give it a hug, curve to the ground, and stop. Charlie. Okay. Next, we're going to work on Ellis. Ellis has an E to begin her name, so we do a tall back all the way to the ground. Now on this letter, we have to pick up our marker because we make 3 different marks. We push a line forward at the top, a line forward at the middle, and a line forward at the bottom. L, tall back to the ground, little curve. One more L, start at the sky, drop to the ground, little curve. Now we need an I. Start the middle line, drop to the ground, reach halfway between the middle line and the sky and put a little dot. And we need an S. So start just below the middle line, reach up, switch forward, and curve a snaky S. Ellis. Okay, now we're going to do JC's name. JC starts with a J. We're going to reach up to the sky. We're going to pull a line down, and when we get to the ground, we're going to curve forward. There's our letter J. Now we're going to make an A, so we need to start at the middle line, make an oval, drop a tail down. For our Y, we're going to make a U, so start at the middle line, loop up. Now to make our Y, we drop a tail below the line and push a tail forward. Give it a hook, rather. Give it a hook. Then we're going to make a lowercase c. So we're going to go just a little bit below our middle line, reach up and touch that line, curve down to the ground, and now letter E 2 times. So remember, when we make a lowercase e, we start between the middle line and the ground, push a line forward, reach around, give it a hug, drop to the ground. And one more E, push the line forward, reach around, give it a hug, touch the ground. There's Jessie. Okay, the next name is Silas. Silas has a capital S, so we start just before the top line, just before the sky. We're going to reach back. Remember that sneaky snake. Reach a curl back, switch forward, and then push back again on the ground. Then we're going to move a little bit to the side, and we're going to drop a stick from the middle line to the ground. Put a dot right over the middle line. For your L, go to the sky, reach a stick all the way to the ground, give it a little curl. And then we have an oval up to the middle line, trace back down, give it a tail, and we're going to finish with a lowercase s. So we do the same thing that we did in the beginning, except this time we're only going to use the middle line. So we go just below the middle line, reach back, curve around, and then switch back for a sneaky snake. Silas. Okay, now we're going to do Holder's name. Holder's name starts with a capital H, so we're going to make a tall stick from the sky to the ground, and this time we have to pick our pencil or crayon or marker up and move over and do another stick right straight to the ground, and then we come to the middle line holder and we're going to connect the two with a sideways line. There's your capital H, and then we're going to make an O. Start at the middle line, reach back, curl around, and make a circle. For your L, start at the sky, draw a stick straight down to the ground, and give it a little curl. For your D, we're going to make an oval, but after we make our oval, we don't pick our marker up. We're going to reach right up to the sky. So we're going to make our oval and then stretch all the way to the sky. Keep your marker down to your paper, trace right back down, draw a stick to the ground, and give a little curl for your D. For your E, remember we're going to make a lowercase e. We start between the dotted line and the ground. We're going to push a line forward, reach around, give it a hug, touch the ground. Our last letter for Holder is an R. Start at the middle line, reach all the way down to the ground, trace back up, and give a short rainbow that stops right below the dotted line. Holder. Next is Hawk. It's another H. Hawk, for your name, you're going to make a stick from the sky all the way to the ground. Pick up your marker, crayon, pencil, scoot over a little bit, and we're going to make another stick from the sky to the ground. Now we're going to make a line sideways from the first stick to the second stick and stop. Now we're going to make an oval. For your A, drop a tail to the ground. Now it's time for the W. Start at the middle line, loop back up to the middle line, and drop another loop to the ground, back up to the middle line. Okay, for your letter K, we're going to start at the sky, drop a stick all the way to the ground, trace up to the middle line, just above the little middle line, and then we're going to give a small tummy, just a small one, and then we're going to give it a leg to the ground, almost like a rainbow. Next is Bella. Bella starts with a B. So capital B starts at the sky. We drop a line all the way to the ground. We're going to make a tummy from the sky to the middle line, and then another tummy from the middle line to the ground. Bella, your next letter is an E, so you're going to start right below the middle line, push a line forward, reach around backwards, give it a hug, drop to the ground. Now you have two L's. The first one, we start at the sky, draw a stick down to the ground, give it a little curl. One more, start at the sky, drop to the ground, give it a little curl. For letter A, you're going to start at the middle line, make an oval, and drop a tail down to the ground. Bella. Next, we have Lily. Lily, your name starts with a capital L. We're going to start at the sky, drop a stick all the way to the ground, and push a line forward and stop. Next letter is I. Start at the middle line, drop a stick to the ground, reach above the middle line, and put a little dot. You have another L, but this time it's lowercase. All you have to do is start at the sky, draw a stick to the ground, give it a little curl, and stop. Letter Y, we're starting at the middle line, make a loop to the ground, reach back up like we do with letter U, but then we're going to drop a tail below the line and give it a hook. Lily. My paper towel is starting to get kind of dirty, and this is where we can start to get marker on our hands, parents. So you can either change out that paper towel or get a wet wipe or something like that. Okay, so after Lily's name is Ari. We are going to do Ari's name. So Ari, your name begins with a letter A. You're going to start at the sky and drop a backwards diagonal line to the ground. Pick up your marker, go right back to that same spot, but this time your diagonal line is going to go forward to the ground. And then we're going to go back to the first line and draw a stick from one side to the other to connect that A. Next is a U. Start at the middle line, drop a loop down to the ground, curve back up to the middle line, trace back down, and give it a tail. Next is letter R. Start at the middle line, drop a stick to the ground, trace back up, and give it a short rainbow. Stop right after the dots. Letter I, start at the middle line, drop your stick all the way to the ground, reach above the middle line, and make a dot. Letter E. We're going to start between the middle line and the ground. We're going to push a line forward, reach around, give it a hug, and drop to the ground. Ari. Carson is up next. Carson starts with a capital C. So we're going to start just below the sky line. We're going to reach back, curve down to the ground, and curve up just a little bit for capital C. Now we're going to make an A. So we need an oval. We're going to start at the middle line for that oval, close it up, and then we're going to give it a tail. Go to the middle line, drop a stick to the ground, reach back up, and a short rainbow for letter R. Now it's time for the S. We're going to start just below the middle line, reach up and touch the middle line, switch around for sneaky snake at the ground, and reach back. O, you start at the middle line, curve backwards. We're going to close up a circle for letter O. And then letter N, start at the middle line, drop a stick to the ground, trace right back up, give a rainbow that goes all the way to the ground, and give it a little curl. Carson. Next is Colton. Colton's name also begins with the C. So we do the same thing that we did for Carson. We're about to reach back up to the sky, but we have to start just below. Put our marker down, reach back, touch the sky, curve all the way down to the ground, come up a little bit and stop. Now for letter O in Colton's name, we're going to start at the middle line, curve around backwards, go all the way and make a circle and close it up. Start at the sky for letter L, drop it all the way to the ground and give it a little curl. Now we're going to do a lowercase t. It starts out looking a lot like our L, so we start at the sky, drop a stick all the way to the ground, go just above the middle line and cross your T. We need another O next, so start again at the middle line. Do you remember how to make that O? Go backwards, circle around, touch the ground, and close your circle up at the top. Start at the middle line for letter N, drop a stick to the ground, trace back up, make a big rainbow that touches the ground. Colton. Next we have Abigail. Abigail's name begins with a capital A. So we're going to start at the sky, drop a this will be a backwards diagonal, and then we're going to go back to the top and drop down a forward diagonal all the way to the ground. We're going to pick our marker back up, go to the first side, and draw a stick to connect to the other side. Now we're going to make a lowercase b. Start at the sky, draw a stick all the way to the ground, reach up to the middle line, and put a little tummy to the ground. Now we're going to do letter I. Start at the middle line, drop a stick to the ground, reach above that dashed line or the middle line, and put a dot. Going to make a lowercase g. That looks a lot like the lowercase a, except its tail drops below the line and we give it a hook. So let's start out by giving an oval, drop the tail below the line, and give a hook forward. Now we're going to do letter A. Same motion, make an oval. This time we're going to stop at the ground. We're going to drop down to the ground and just give a little curl outward. Now we need an I. Start at the middle line, drop to the ground, reach above the dotted middle line, and make a dot above that I. The last letter in your name, Abigail, is an L. Start at the sky, trace or make a stick all the way to the ground and give it a little curl. Abigail. Okay. Now we're going to do Rex. Rex begins with an R, so we start at the sky, drop a stick all the way to the ground. We have to pick up our marker and go back to the top. We're going to give a tummy just from the sky to the middle line, and then we're going to give a leg to the ground. Leg to the ground. Next is an E, so we're going to start between the middle line and the ground. We're going to push a line forward, reach around, give it a hug, and let go. Now we have an X. So we're going to do a swirly forward diagonal, and then start at the middle line and cross backwards to the ground. Rex. Next we have Branson. Branson starts with a B, so we start at the sky, drop a line all the way to the ground, put a tummy from the sky to the middle line, and another tummy from the middle line to the ground for capital B. For our R, start at the middle line, drop down to the ground, trace back up to the middle line for a very short rainbow. A, give an oval up to the middle line and drop the tail to the ground. Now we're going to put an N. Drop your line to the ground. Trace back up to the middle line and give a rainbow all the way to the ground. Next is letter S. Start just below the middle line, reach backwards, curve around forward, and switch back for that sneaky snake. Now we're doing letter O. Start at the middle line, curve backwards, make a circle, close all the way back up at the top. And here's your last letter. Another N. Start at the middle line, drop your stick all the way to the ground, trace back up, give a rainbow all the way to the ground. Branson. And last but not least is Adeline. Adeline's name also begins with the letter A. Start at the sky, drop a backwards diagonal down to the ground. Go back to the sky, forward diagonal, down to the ground. Go back to your first diagonal and make a stick to connect those two lines. Now we're going to make a D. You start out by making an oval. Don't pick up your marker, reach way, 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 way up to the sky, trace right back down all the way to the ground and give a little curl. Now we need a lowercase a. Make an oval all the way back up to the middle line, drop a tail down or a curve down to the ground. Now we're going to make a lowercase l. Go back up to the sky, reach your stick, draw all the way to the ground, give a little curl. Now we're going to make a Y. You start at the middle line, loop to the ground, back up to the middle line, trace back down, give it a tail below the line, and push a forward hook. Now we're going to do an N. Start at the middle line, draw your stick to the ground, trace back up, give a rainbow all the way down to the ground. We're going to do another N. This is your last letter of your name, Adeline. Reach to the middle line, draw a stick all the way to the ground, trace back up, and make a rainbow all the way to the ground. Adeline. I hope that this is helpful to everyone. I will probably share in a few days about our alphabet book. That was something that was supposed to be an end of the year surprise. However, I think we might need your help so we get that finished on time before the end of the year actually arrives. So if I see that happens to be a likely thing, that we're going to run out of days to get our alphabet book completed, then I will maybe get emails or something and email out to you guys our alphabet pages. And instead of us doing something uniform like we've done for letters A through U, we will just let you guys pick what you want to do. I could give you suggestions, but that's something we could talk about later. Just let me know if you have any questions about anything. Everybody stay safe. Certainly miss all of you and hope you're doing well. Take care.